Okay, welcome back again. Yeah, let's try that hydroplate protocol again. We will be going through the confirmed predictions and the other predictions, and then we're going to wind up with the Bible verses again. And so hopefully we don't lose the sound this time. I'm going to make sure I don't leave the studio. So you should still be able to hear me. And then we're going to go into my page. Oh, there I am. Look at that. Look at me. Oh boy, and here we go. We are going to find it. Let's see, here we go. There we go. All right, so there's that. And again, if you want to see the predictions, this is how you can get the PDF. Go into hpt.rsr.org, click that PDF button, and you can search predictions of the go do F4, and then search predictions of the hydroplate, and there's going to be 5 of them. So then you can just search through, and then on page 470, you're going to see a list of these, and there's about 7 or 8 of them. The ones that are in bold are the ones that are accurate. But then the bold ones, they got cooled water under mountains, deep channels under Bosporus. We'll go through these in a little more detail later. But there's 58 predictions that Walt has made. And these are the ones that were sent to me. Those were the old ones. These were sent to me. These are, I believe, are going to be in the new book. And so this is one of the predictions. Prediction number 2, beneath major mountains are large volumes of pooled water, which he predicted in 1980, and it was confirmed in 2001. And then crystalline rock under Gibraltar, the Bosporus and Dardanelles, and the Golden Gate Bridge will be found to be eroded into V-shaped notches. Published in 95, was confirmed in 98 and 09 and in 2018. And soil and erosion channels on Mars will contain traces of Earth-like soluble compounds such as salt from the Earth's pre-flood subterranean chambers. Soil far from erosion channels will not. And this was published in 2001, and then salt was discovered in 2004. So he's right ahead of the curve. And then some comets, asteroids, and meteoroids will be found to be made of crystalline material and forged in extreme heat, like cubonite, and that was only forms in scalding hot water. Where do you get scalding hot water in space? Well, you really don't. You get it in the subterranean water chambers, though. And so he predicted it in 2001. It was verified in Wild Comet in 2004. That's where the cubonite was found, and also in Comet Tempel 1 in 2005. And then some large parabolic comets, as they fall towards the center of the solar system for the first time, will have moons. And that was published in 1997 and confirmed in 1998. Asteroids are rock piles, often with internal ice acting as a weak glue. Large rocks that begin the capture process are near the centers of the asteroids and comets. Okay, he published it in 2001, and it was confirmed. Let's see, 4 years after publishing this prediction in 2001, measurements of the largest asteroid series found that it does indeed have a dense rocky core and a mantle primarily of water ice. And it was announced that 2 jets of water vapor were discovered escaping from Ceres at a combined rate of 13 pounds per second. Well, you can't do that for millions of years now, can you? Okay, most of the rocks, pebble-sized and larger, comprising asteroids and comets, will be found to be rounded to some degree. This rounding occurred as the rocks tumbled and were eroded in the powerful fountains of the Great Deep, just as rocks are tumbled and rounded in fast-flowing streams. And it was announced in December of 2014 that huge rounded boulders, 1 to 3 meters in diameter, are stacked layer upon layer all over Comet 67P. And they call them dinosaur eggs. You know, if something slams together in space, it's going to have jagged edges. The only way it gets rounded is like it described. It gets in a fast flow of water and breaks off the sharp edges before it gets propelled into space. And the hydroplate theory you would expect that. And then Planet X will not be found in the next 5 years by January 2021 because it does not exist. Okay, so it's taken a while for this book to get out there, but hopefully it gets out there. I've been hearing later this year for the last 6 years, but I think this time, I think they actually mean it. Okay, and so let's see. So they made the prediction in 2016, and it wasn't found by 2021, which is the prediction. And then bones or other organic remains that contain enough carbon and are believed to be older than 100,000 years will be shown to be relatively young in blind random carbon tests. Yeah, blind test. That's what you need. Have them do blind tests. Those when they date stuff, it's never blind. But this was it was predicted in 1995, and it was confirmed in 2001. Okay, and now this is what Fred McNabb did. He took them and he did some more research, and you can find this super rotation of the atmosphere of Venus. Prediction: the atmosphere on the day side of Venus will be found to be higher than the night side. Therefore, a high flow rate occurs in the upper atmosphere from the day side to the night side. And then you go through the references. I'll just leave them here for you. I'll just do the predictions and you can check out the references later. Pooled water under mountains. This one he says is tentatively supported. 3, salt water in very deep granite cracks was predicted fills cracks 5 to 10 miles below the Earth's surface. And he's got a reference for that. And water fossilized whales at the base of the Andes, which was confirmed. And deep channels under Bosporus and Gibraltar. We talked about that. Number 6 is fracture zones mark high magnetic intensity. Now, these ones are not confirmed. Magnetic strength grows in hydrothermal vents. Earth is shrinking. Earthquakes will be predicted. And you think it's going to be disturbances in the ionosphere, because during earthquakes, there's like lightning that comes up. This Z-pinching is happening there. As granite is compressed or contract, it does a spark. And so he might be onto something there. Number 10, granite layered deep under the Pacific floor. And that was confirmed. That could have been Zealandia. Number 11 is shallow water fossils in and near trenches. And it was confirmed. 12, inner core spin is decelerating, confirmed. And these are not right here. Age sequencing wrong for the Hawaiian Islands. 14, thin parallel extensive varves not under lakes. 15, sand dunes from Grand Canyon. A chemical and isotope analysis of the sand dunes will show that the sand came from the Grand Canyon, California's imperial sand dunes. And that's what Bill Wells was saying when he takes off from San Diego. He says he's flying over the floodplain. That's what came. That's the dirt from the Grand Canyon. So we'll see if they do some isotope dating. And Jane, you were talking about that. That's maybe something that somebody wants to fund. 15, a chemical. Oh, I did that one already. 16, unique chemistry of Grand and Hopi basins. And the soil chemistry in the basins of that held Grand and Hopi lakes. Those are the 2 lakes that flooded, breached to form Grand Canyon. And Grand Lake, that was in 4 states, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. And it was huge. It was twice the size of Lake Michigan and very deep, 1,000 feet. 350 feet in Farmington in New Mexico, 1,100 feet in Grand Junction, Colorado, and 1,400 feet in Page, Arizona. So that's a lot of water, a mile above the earth. And if you want to go more of that detail, you check out the Grand Canyon debate that I had with a paleontologist, on the Standing for Truth YouTube channel. Okay, 17, slot canyons have cracks that are miles deep. That's not confirmed yet. 18, Grand Canyon's inner gorge is a tension crack. Obviously, because the river should have cut wider into the softer sedimentary rock, and yet it goes deeper into the hard crystalline rock, 1,200 feet deep, 46 miles long. Yeah, that's a tension crack, obviously. And the key to Grand Canyon, again, is bulging and cracking 3 times. Prediction number 19, fault under the East Kaibab monocline. 20, lurse at bottom of ice cores. And somebody had called me about that. He said, hey, if the mammoths froze in that stuff, would that be at the bottom of the ice? Maybe in Antarctica if they get down to the bottom. So that'll be an interesting one. Lurse there. Muck on Siberian plateaus. Rock ice is salty. Let's see. Where was I? Rock ice is salty. That's 22. 23. Carbon dioxide bubbles in rock ice. 24, muck particles in rock ice. 25, no fossil, rock ice. I think that's ice that it's very pure. And then once it's exposed to air, it turns yellow. I think it's something like that, if I remember right. 25, no fossils below mammoths, because he believes the mammoths were frozen as the subterranean water shot up with such force. Some of it got out of our atmosphere and got super cold, and then came slamming down on the mammoths and burying them in muddy hail. 26, radiocarbon dating mammoths. Okay, blind radiocarbon dating of different parts of the same mammoth will continue to give radiocarbon ages that differ by more than the statistical variation should allow. So we'll see about that. Ice age can be demonstrated. Okay, let's see, what number was that? 27. Uh-oh, I'm missing some. I think I was just taking pictures of the accurate ones, so you could check this out. I think this is on hydroplate.org. If not, we will put it up there. Okay, excess heavy hydrogen in 5 mile deep water, salt and bacteria in comets. That's prediction 34. Yeah, they're finding amino acids, all this, Astro Alexander, she just had another one talking about Bennu, and she pointed about how it had serpentine that forms when the mantle touches the ocean, and she had a picture of the mid-oceanic ridge, and it's like, man, she is just what did Fred Williams say? Isn't it great that she did a promo for Walt Brown and the hydroplate, and we didn't have to pay any of the production costs? Because that's what they're doing. Again, all scientists work for Walt Brown. Oort cloud does not exist. Yeah, that's a rescuing device to explain comets. And there's a whole bunch, they imagine something to be true to keep their blind chance perspective alive and millions and billions of years. And that's one of the rescuing devices. Another rescuing device would be, let's see, you got the Oort cloud, you got the dynamo, you got dark matter, you got dark energy, you got, there's a lot of them. Not coming to me right now. More argon in comet crust. Oh, wait a minute. No, let's see, number 36. No incoming hyperbolic comets. Okay. And now they got 3I Atlas, which they say is a hyperbolic comet coming from another solar system. And, check out the talk that Pastor Lee gave on Thursday night, I believe. And I made a clip of it explaining AI Atlas, 3I Atlas. Basically says they didn't see it. They didn't see it come into the solar system. They only saw it 6 AU away, and that's astronomical units. But you can listen to that one, and it could have got a gravity boost as it went out and came in. Okay, 37, more argon in comet crust. 38, this one's predicted. Asteroids are flying rock piles. Yeah, they found that out with the DART mission. And Pastor Kevin Lee, he warned them that could happen, and they ignored it. Okay, rocks on asteroids and comets are rounded. Okay, we talked about that. That was confirmed. Number 40, rapidly spinning asteroids are well-rounded. 41, asteroid rocks are magnetized. 42, deuterium in Themis. And deuterium, that's heavy hydrogen, I believe. And it's got an extra neutron, if that's right. Prediction 43, water is inside large asteroids, and that was confirmed. And let's see, 44, mining asteroids is too costly. Rocks and asteroids are typical of the Earth's crust. Expensive efforts to mine asteroids to recover strategic or precious metals will be a waste of money. But NASA's never been, or our government's never been averse to wasting money. Look at that SETI program, all that stuff, trying to find intelligent life out there. And that was the Fermi paradox. If evolution's true and all those planets out there, it must have happened out there before, and there must be somebody that's more advanced than us and more intelligent. And so the Fermi paradox is, where are they? How come it seems like we're the only ones? Well, maybe it's because God made the Earth to be inhabitable. Okay, and 45, Deimos has a very low density. And 45, 46, Mars's sediment deposited through air. 47, heavy hydrogen in space ice. And that's because the deuterium was in the subterranean water chambers and it got shot up into space. And deuterium in comets is twice as much as the ocean. I think in comets, it is 1 part per 3,200 in the comet, and in the ocean it's 1 part per 6,400, if I remember right from Brian Nichols' videos. And that's why Walt, I believe that's why Walt thinks half of the ocean was inside the Earth, because the water diluted the rest of the stuff. But personally, I think it was even more than that. Let's see, that was, let's see, 48. Many more TNOs have rings, and 49, Planet X will not be found. We talked about that. That's been confirmed. 50, comets are rich in oxygen. 51, lineaments correlate with earthquakes, and lineaments are straight features on the surface of the Earth. And I think those were formed when the plates were fluttering. They were buckling. As the water shoots up, it releases pressure, and then the water, it slams down, and then it shoots up and slams down. They call that fluttering, and that's going to crack the granite, and that could make the lineaments. Okay, 42, little radioactivity on the moon and Mars, and that was confirmed. 53, new telescopes will not find oh boy, got time to get new glasses. Reionization of IgM, intergalactic material. And yeah, I don't know what, that's a little over my head. 54, carbon-14 in old bones. That has been confirmed. 55, bacteria on Mars. Don't be surprised if that happens and they're going to say, see, life began on Mars. And it's like, no. No, the bacteria came from Earth. And so it didn't start on Mars and come to Earth. No, it came from the Earth and landed up on Mars. And that was one of the things they were talking about, asteroid Bennu. They find all these pieces of RNA and DNA and all that stuff, the stuff that could be used for life. And it's like if you found a busted window, some shingles, some rebar, and some cement, and you say, look, building blocks of a building. This building is evolving. The building was destroyed. And that's what you're seeing up in those comets. You're seeing life that was destroyed. Okay, bacteria on Mars. 56, some hydrogen missing from polonium halos. 57, comets formed as described by the hydroplate theory delivered lots of liquid water to Mars. That's confirmed. And then let's see what else we got. That was 57. And 58, the spin rate and direction of Ceres. The following prediction was made on page the 7th edition. Okay, Earth-like spin, but you can check that out on your own. And so those are the predictions that people have made. And let's see, I'm just going to exit out of this, possibly. And we'll go to the top, and we'll just finish. We'll redo these biblical verses. You should have the accurate predictions, the current predictions, and the biblical verses to support your theory before you present your theory. And here's some of the verses that help distinguish the hydroplate theory from the other theories. Okay, this is Psalm 136:6. To him that stretched out the earth above the waters. So the earth is above the waters. So what does that mean? There's water under the earth, which is what the hydroplate says. He gathers the waters of the sea together as a heap. He lays up the depth in storehouses. Interesting. And the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up. And again, fountains always refers to water, not magma in the Bible, or lava. And who shut up the sea with doors when it brake forth, as if it had issued out of the womb? Job 38:8. And hast thou entered into the springs of the sea? Job 38:16. So there's verses that clearly show there's water inside of the earth. And we see supercritical water coming up from the Atlantic Ocean today. Supercritical water, never before found in nature, is coming up. And the hydroplate theory explains that. And so we've got all these, and so we've got all these, all this evidence that supports the hydroplate theory. And all I'm asking is that the creation organizations, the creation museums, would allow people to think about flood models. Give us two perspectives so we can compare and contrast, we can sharpen our analytical skills, we can think critically and come to our own conclusion instead of just having one flood model. And that's what the evolutionists do. And so we're just humbly asking, will you give people the opportunity to think? And I think that would be a tremendous blessing to everybody. And the first creation organization that does that I think will have a huge feather in its hat as future generations look back. And it may even cause your donations to go up. If you're giving people an opportunity to think, if you're setting an example for the evolutionists and the Big Bangers, the blind chancers, this is how you do. This is you present competing theories. Yeah. And I'd also love to let's start one step at a time. Let's just do one step at a time. Allow people to think. Give us an opportunity. And so, if there's creation organization people out there looking and watching this, please prayerfully consider that, because the hydroplate theory is hitting the ball out of the park, and we can have a lot of scientific clout if you will recognize it. Let people discuss it without being coerced into silence. Let people think about it. Let people find out more about it. Let's not have any sacred cows, any theories that are that can't be critiqued. Let's just have open discussion. That's all we want. So anyhow, thank you so much for sticking with me all the way to the end. This is going to be a lot of fun. Tomorrow night, again, we're going to have the panel discussion. We're also going to have a very important talk on how to reach our culture by Matt Naylor, and then Adamar Rakowski. He's going to talk about how their theology, how our seminaries have been corrupted. Touch on that. He says they're teaching nonsense, and that's hurting us. And so we just need more people to get informed and inform others. So again, thanks again for staying with us, and enjoy the evening. Man, may God bless your efforts.